Okay, so we're working on this 51 or 54 Gale Buccaneer, and I was having trouble figuring out how this water pump comes out. Did get it running. I'll show you guys how I unseized it. I didn't do much other than put new coils in. I ordered this from a guy. I will link his website. This tool is invaluable. 20 bucks with fees and everything. It came out to like 27 tops. It's light aluminum, but you put the coil. The coils were too far out. They were hitting against the flywheel. So I put this on there, tighten down the nuts, tighten down the screws, and now it don't rub. This thing's awesome. This thing's awesome. We'll get into this later. So now it started to overheat on me, so I know I need a new impeller. 51 through 54, 5 horsepower with the neutral thing. Still got to spin it around for 180 degrees. Doesn't have a gear shift. Has the newer style impellers that are on the drive shaft inside here. Didn't know how this came apart. This is the spring that when you pull the lever up, compresses the compression spring and puts the propeller in neutral. So I was just trying to figure out, I looked online and I didn't know, but that's a plate there, and I just got it separated. I didn't know how this came off. I didn't see any screws. I couldn't figure it out. I wasn't sure if I had to disconnect the cable up top. In any case, this is a plate. So this I separated. I took a small screwdriver, a very small screwdriver, and I wedged it here, and I tapped it with the hammer, bing, 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 boom, 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 and I'm getting some gap here. So I'm going to separate this more. Hopefully I don't damage too much. And I'm learning as I go here, so I'm sorry if I'm not really posting a step-by-step video here, because I'm really more interested in just getting it the heck off. But that's my fault. This is my first 50s Gale. I have the 62 CK I worked on. So let's see if I can. And unfortunately, I can edit my videos. I can trim the fronts and the backs, but I can't trim in between. So it's kind of like where I'm at. So I thought I was going to be done once this plate came off. Plate coming off, still being held in by this spring, which holds the wire up top. I want to keep the wire through the top because I really don't want to replace it. So I'm still trying to get to the water pump housing, which is in this gap here. There's another section that needs to be wedged, and it's right here. This is the housing here. The water pump is in there, the water impeller. So I'm going to jam a wedge in there and see if I can separate it. After that, it looks like I'm going to have to maybe pull that wire. I'm worried I'm never going to get it back in. And there is a lot of corrosion and everything in here because this motor is from the 50s. And I believe it sat for a long time. See where it's supposed to be separated here. There we go. So I got a wedge there. Okay, so it came out. I wasn't prepared for the whole shaft to come out. But you can see this motor's been neglected. So there is a lot of junk in there. I was able to pull the plate far enough away and move it. And once I was able to do that, I just dug with the screwdriver and pulled there's the water pump housing. The shaft came all the way up from the power head. You can see the water tube inside there, so you got to be careful not to break that. I have a lot of corrosion in there, which I can now clean out. And we're in good shape. Now I got the water pump housing out. I can change the water impeller. Yay! Okay, so wasn't pumping water. I'm assuming the water pump was really damaged. Check this out. 1950. This impeller's impeccable. There's nothing wrong with this thing. It was gunked up. All of this grease had just kind of stuck there. So I'm assuming the shaft just spun without it moving. And even if it was moving, the grease was blocking any water flow. So you're going to get your guys online that say, change your water pump, such a cheap part, why? But if it ain't broke, don't fix it. So, F you, I'm saving $30. There's nothing wrong with this impeller. Maybe it's been used, the fins are bent, but they all get bent after so many. I'm going to clean it. Look how dirty this is. Look how dirty that is. I'm going to clean this up real nice and shiny. This thing's going to pump like $1 million. There's no need to place parts if you don't need to. That's my opinion. So you want to change the impeller, go ahead. Take it off. 30 bucks. No reason. This thing's impeccable. I mean, there's always an exception to the rule. This thing looks great. It's not cracked. It's not broken. It's not missing any fins. I see a lot of chunks of grease. It was all chunked in there. I'm assuming if it was spinning, that water was just getting blocked. Because, I mean, look, these chunks came out. These chunks literally came out right there. That was in between the fins here. I just kind of cleaned it up just so I can inspect the impeller itself. So it looks like I'm going to save some money. And we're going to clean it up. And we're going to install it back. And we're going to have a fucking beautiful functioning motor. Another cleanup job. 51 to 54 Sea King coming along. Buccaneer, excuse me. Okay, folks, don't get me wrong. I'm not trying to say skimp out on parts. But, you know, this thing is in fantastic shape. You know, it's like, $30 may not be nothing to you, but to me it's a big deal. So, inspect it, take a look at it, and make your own decisions. This thing looks good. I mean, there was gunk everywhere. The holes, this is cleaned up a little. Look how nice that's shined up. Gunk everywhere. The main problem with this, the water pushes up through that hole right there, up there to the water tube, gunked. Grease, gunk, water, age, all plugged up in there. I wiped it all down. This thing's going to run like a champ. So, you know, just evaluate everything. You don't have to throw parts at everything if it ain't necessary. This thing was it was a big clog. Big old friggin' Drano clog. So, it's cleaned up now. I'm going to try, the morning's going to come. We're going to vacuum it out, put a little pressed air in there, clean it up nice, put it back together, and see if we get a running monster.